Hello and welcome back to Projects in Java. Today we're going to continue learning Maven. We're going to create our first project and then move one of our existing projects over to Maven. So let's take a look at a couple things before we create our first project. We're going to take a look at what we're using to create it. We're going to use an archetype, and an archetype is a type of template that Maven uses. You can use ones that are provided by other users, or you can create your own. Apache has some very simple archetypes that you can start with. We're going to use the quick start archetype. And so this will create certain things that you need to get started with your project. So now let's go to command prompt, and I'm going to change directories to one that I have for Maven projects. And then here I am going to start the archetype generate command. So that's MVN. And then we're going to type in archetype and then colon and generate. Next we have our group ID. And so this can be something like your company's name, anything that you want to bundle your projects under one name with. So the group ID, and this is an example that Apache gives, so I'm just going to enter it as is. And next is your artifact ID. And this is just a project name. We'll call it my app. Next, we need the archetype. And so we need the artifact ID. And so we're going to use the quick start archetype. So that's Maven dash archetype dash quick start. And we're going to set interactive mode to false. And so now it's downloading the requirements and setting up the project folders. This takes a little while on your first run. It looks like I entered in the command a little bit wrong, so let me go correct that. And so let's run that command again. Now we should be able to cd into that directory. So just type cd and then my dash app. Now we're going to call Maven package. And so what this is doing is downloading all the dependencies. You will have a folder in your user folder, see users, and then your name, and then there'll be a folder in there that is called .m2, and that is where it's stored locally. And so I'm going to talk about this area in case you get it also. This is because I have the GRE specified in my Java home environment, so I need to update that. So I need to go to my environmental variables again. and modify my Java home. So here I have my JDK directory. I'm going to change that here. Press OK. Then I am going to relaunch the command prompt. CD into my app directory. And then run Maven package again. Okay, and now I get build success. So if you're having that same problem, make sure to have your Java home environmental variables set to the correct directory. And so this app that we set up is basically the hello world of Maven. So let's go ahead and run this. So we're adding our jar file to the class path. And then we're going to call our main class. And it outputs hello world. And so now that we've tested the Hello World app of Maven, let's go ahead and copy our Akka project over to a Maven directory. So we're going to just change the directory up one, and we're going to run the same command that we ran before, just a little differently. We're going to change the name so that we can create one for our primes. And so we're going to generate from an archetype. So archetype generate. We'll have the group ID again. And we'll just call this Akka primes. And for the artifact ID, we'll call this primes. And we're going to use the same quick start archetype. Okay, I forgot to put mode in there. So let's try that again. And then we'll cd into that directory. Now let's go to our source code folder in our project. And here we can see the jar files that we need to set the actors up. So we're just going to need the source code, so just the 3 files. And we'll go to our project directories. And we'll remove the existing file and copy ours. And here we'll delete the test app. Now let's go back to the root directory of this project, and we're going to open up the POM file. You can use whatever editor you like. I like to use Notepad++. And so here you can see we have the name of the project, the version of the project, and its dependencies, and also how it gets packaged. It gets packaged as a jar file. Now, the dependency we need is akka, so we can go to search.maven.org, and we're going to search akka-actor, and here we can get the newest version, and off to the side here, it will have the dependency XML for you to copy. And we actually don't need JUnit, so we can remove this, copy that over, just tab it in to make sure the indents look right. Go ahead and save this. Now let's go back to our project folder, and we're going to go to the main code. And we just want to open these and add them to the package. So our package is akka prime. And we'll just add this as the first line of each of these classes. Let's go back to command prompt and run maven package. So it looks like I grabbed the wrong dependency. Let's go back to the repository and search this again. And this is actually the one we want, the one that doesn't have test on it. And let's modify the XML file again. Let's run maven package. And the build was a success this time. And so if we try to run this as is, we'll get an error saying that the akka classes are not defined. And that's because those jar files have not been copied into our project jar file. So we need to modify the POM file to get that set up. And we're going to use an Apache plugin called Shade. You can find it on the Apache website. And so we're going to copy this from build to build into our POM. And so you can paste that after the URL. And here we're just going to take out the configuration section. There's where you can specify which classes you want to include and exclude. In this case, we'll just copy everything for now. Let's go ahead and package that again. And so here you're seeing it's downloading again so that it can include it into the jar file. Let's wait for that to process. And so now let's go ahead and run the jar file. And it's going to be target slash and the name of the jar file. It's right here. So primes dash 1.0 dash snapshot dot jar, and our package is akka primes, and our class that we want to run is prime calculator. So we run that, and there are prime numbers. And so it's the same application that we ran earlier, but we did this using Maven. And so you can see as your projects get larger and larger and dependent on each other, that this would be a great tool to manage those. In our next videos, we'll cover more features that Maven has.